Welcome back everybody to the channel. Today we're doing something that I consider fairly simple. This wire here goes to the small post on the starter solenoid, and I put that on a couple years ago when I rebuilt the starter and put it on the truck. And what I'm doing today is what I call plan B. In case I do have a problem, which I'm not having a problem right now, but this is something I wanted to do a while back and I just didn't get a chance to do it. But I always like having a backup plan or plan B. So if I have a problem with the starter, the reason I put that wire on there is I could just reach in and touch the positive post. Well, if I do have a problem with the starter or the electrical in the truck and I need to jump the starter, I'd rather not have to climb out here to do it, especially if it's raining. So what I've always wanted to do is put a starter button inside the truck. Now this truck is set up to when you turn the key on the ignition, it starts just like your car does if you have a key and don't have a key fob. Now I've done a few things here to kind of speed things up here. As you can see, I went ahead and removed all the screws from the panel here, and I removed the screws from this panel because what I'm going to do is this hole right here, there used to be, back in the day when this thing was new, used to be a light that would come on with the dome lights and that. Well, that's been missing since before I got the truck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to utilize that hole. Well, the problem is the starter button here, the starter button is smaller than what the hole is. So what I did is I just cut a 2.5 inch by 2.5 inch plate, drilled a hole in the center, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to put it up there and use some self-tapping screws to hold the plate up there. And like I said, this is just in case I have a problem. I don't want to be out there fiddling around with things trying to get to start if I have a problem in the future. But this is fairly kind of simple. Like I said, this plate, I'm just going to put it up there with a couple self-tapping screws. As you can see, there's 2 screws on the back of the switch or the button, and one is going to be tied into that wire coming right off the starter. I'm going to go ahead and send it through the firewall and bring it up into the panel here and tie it into one side. And then the other one is going to have a wire coming off of here going on to the back of the ignition switch. I use a test light to find out which one is hot, because the truck will not start with this button unless the key is turned on. So I can have this thing energized all the time, or I can find a post that's only hot with the key in the run position. Either way will work. I'm probably going to set this one up to where it'll be powered all the time. That's fairly simple. It's straightforward. I'll go ahead and start the camera back up after I install this, and like I said, I'm just going to find a hole in the firewall, which there's one. I doubt if you can see it right there, but I'm going to run through there, come up into here, tie on the back of the switch. It's simple, it's easy to do. It takes more time than anything else. If you don't have a big hole like this and you just drill a hole in a panel or something like that, then you just make sure that you don't drill a hole too big, and just keep test fitting the switch until it actually fits in there fairly snug, and wire it up, and then go ahead and tighten up the little nut that's on the button here, this nut, to make it nice and tight where it don't move. And you got a starter button in case you have a problem, or if you have to change the starter button, or if you're having a problem with the starter and don't want to replace the starter, or if you're having a problem with the electrical system in the truck, you don't know where it's at and it's taking time to find it. This is something you could put in there and continue to run and be able to work on the problem as you go. So now if the starter totally goes out, where the brushes or something like that is worn out, starter button ain't going to help you. But if you're having a problem with the solenoid or the wiring in the truck, this may help. I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like after I get it all installed. Okay, I got it up in place. I mean, I wasn't trying to hide it or anything. It's just a backup, but right here it is. I guess if you're not looking for it, you can miss it, but it's hidden away where you're not going to accidentally bump it. your foot doesn't come that far up to hit it or anything like that. It's secure and it's in place, wired up. Like I said, I wired it to the ignition switch to where the key has to be turned on for that button to work. And then I just went ahead and tied into that black wire and ran along the other wires and wire tied it to those other wires, so it's not going to be flopping around. And you can actually reach it from the seat just by reaching under here to get to it. And I'm going to shut up and I'm going to push the button and with the key off, and you'll hear that it doesn't do anything, and then I'll turn the key on and hit the button again.
Of the mystery.
Okay, now without the key or turning the ignition on, it's not going to do you any good to hit that button. So it really doesn't affect making it any easier to steal or anything. It just makes it easier if you have a problem with the electrical system or start a solenoid. You can just hit that button. It will also give you a little bit of a diagnostics too, because if you turn the key and it doesn't do anything, you hit that button, it still don't do anything, and you got power to your dash and lights and all that, and the batteries are good, then chances are your starter's bad. But if you hit that and the key didn't do anything, then you either have a bad solenoid or a bad electrical problem in the truck. So it kind of helps with diagnostics. But go ahead and hit that subscribe button and watch more of my videos, and hit that bell button so you know when I do put the next one up. I do appreciate everybody out there watching, and I'm trying to make these short as I can. Thank you. Have a better day.